Hey guys, welcome back to another video. We're gonna be working on my 2013 Jeep Wrangler, and today we are gonna be painting these fender flares. These flares are from a company called KBD, and they are an inexpensive fender flare option. They look good. They are nice and narrow. They come with the natural black polyurethane finish, and I've never painted them. The only product that I've used on it is Cerakote Trim Coat, and when I use that, it does look good. But from the Arizona sun, these have started to make some lines and marks in here, and they are just kind of looking bad. Along with the sun, the water out here in Arizona where I'm living is very hard water. So when it dries on here, it does leave that marks. So today we're gonna be taking off these fender flares and we're gonna be painting them black. So I will show you how I do that. And if by chance this video is a fail and the paint job does not work out well, at least you can learn from this video what not to do. I will post a link in the video description of all the products that I use, and I'll also post a link for these fender flares. And I've had these fender flares for probably about three to 4 years. So this is not an advertisement for them, but I am actually very impressed with them. I have hit trees and they bend right back to normal. And then on this side, I did lay the Jeep on its side a little bit, scratched it right here. But other than that, no actual damage to these fender flares. And these flares do attach nice and easily. They have little inserts and then screw heads that you can use to attach them. So we're gonna be taking these off and then we're gonna clean them, prep them, and then paint them. We need to make a little paint booth in the garage. That way we can do everything right here and not get a bunch of overspray on all of my tools or my Jeep. Before we do the paint booth, we're gonna take these off, clean them, and then we will prep them. We'll set them aside to dry, and then we'll make a little paint booth right here. So let's go ahead and remove all of these fender flares. These are real easy to remove. There's just screws. Get your screwdriver with a little extension. And they're just as easy to install. And this last one, you just kind of bend it out a little bit. Comes right out. And we will need to clean this area. I'm gonna cut this little bit off and repaint that. But these are these little plastic pieces that get inserted in here. That way you can attach the fender flares to the Jeep fender. So let's go ahead and remove the rest. And the backs are just as easy to remove. Some of these might be a little easier with a little angle adapter. This one was really only tough one. Then we'll take the rest off of the other side. And now I have all of the fender flares sitting inside my makeshift paint booth. And I've got them sort of angled like this a little bit. That way I can get this front side nicely, mostly on the front fender flares. That way I can make sure to get this underside nicely. I don't need to paint, all of this. I just really want to paint this outer edge and this top edge is what's most important on these. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is taking my purple power and we are going to degrease all of these fender flares. Next product I will be using is this prep spray. This cleans and degreases bare surfaces before painting. Make sure you're wearing a good mask when you're using this. The next product will be Bulldog Adhesion Promoter, and then we will be spray painting these black. Using this trim and bumper paint, and this is the tack cloth that I'll be using. This will be right before spraying on the adhesion promoter. With using these chemicals, I did put a fan under the garage door. It's gonna push some of this air out of here, kind of get us some clean air inside the garage. So we're gonna start with the royal purple and degrease these. I'll take my air duster. We'll just make sure they are dry. And then I'm gonna take this Scotch pad and scuff it up. And then I'm gonna wipe it off one more time with the purple power, and then we'll use the prep spray. My advice, do the scuff pad outside of the painting area, but it's too late now. And now we're gonna use the prep spray to do its final cleaning. I'll give this a little bit of time to dry, and then we will use the tack cloth to do one last final wipe down, and then we'll apply the Bulldog Adhesion Promoter. Now you can take your tack cloth and do your last little wipe down. Then you can take your Bulldog Adhesion Promoter and spray it down. And I don't like the way it looks on this, so we're going to, unfortunately, wipe it all off. Try to take the tack cloth and take off any little yellow hairs from that rag. All right, I think we're gonna go right into the black paint. We'll wait a couple minutes, that way any residual dries. We're gonna do a few light layers, and we have to allow 10 minutes in between each coat to apply the second coat and third coat. So we'll do light coats. All right, so we'll wait 10 minutes and come back, do another coat. And now we're gonna apply the second coat. And this is the reason why you need a good paint booth, because you don't think you're gonna get that much overspray, but in reality, you do. So make sure you lay out a good paint booth, okay? Because I've had this paint overspray on my tools. It is not fun to have to wipe off. Now we can set these fenders aside. They have dried long enough to where it'll be safe to set them down. And the best part of the project is the satisfying cleanup. Job well done. No overspray. Perfect. That is what we wanted. So we'll set these fenders aside. leave them out for a day or two, and then we will reinstall them. And since I have the Fender flares off, I got this paint match, Duplicolor, and I am just painting these areas that were not painted. And down here. And here is the other side. I painted all this just to color match a little bit, and I painted the inside here of the fenders just so it's a nicer glossed white. All right, we are back in the garage after letting these fender flares dry for a few days. So let's go ahead and take a look at it, and then we will reinstall them. I would say that this paint job turned out nice, especially compared to the faded look. I didn't paint the undersides, wasn't really necessary. Just the tops and the outside. Before reinstalling them, I did wipe this all down. I tried to get these water marks and dirt marks out of here. It wasn't worth scrubbing at all. It's all gonna be covered up. But before you do install it, make sure you clean this off. This kit is gonna come with these little inserts. So you'll tap these into here. This is what the screw bites into. So we will go ahead and install these. I'm gonna be extra careful since they are painted. All right, these are very easy to install. Just line up a hole. Make sure you've got a little washer on each of these screws. Just like that, line up a hole and screw it in. Don't over tighten them until you get all the screws in, okay? That way if you need to wiggle it around or anything. Once you get all the screws in, take my little tool here, and I'll start in the middle and I'll tighten everything up. And your front one is installed. And it looks a lot better. Let's go ahead and install the rear one. When installing the rear one, there's this screw right at the end. That one's the most difficult one to get. So I would actually start with that one first. That way you can pry this back a little bit. So we'll start with shoving this little screw in the hole. That way it's all the way in the hole. And we will start with attaching it. Okay, so that one started in there. Then you can go for another one just to secure it all down. And now you can install all of the screws, making sure to kind of press outward when installing them. That way there's not this gap right here. In areas like this, it's a little tough to reach in there. If you pry back, then you can move some of this fender out of the way. I'm switching out between a short one and a little bit longer one. And before I tighten it up, I want to pull the whole thing outward. And we'll start with tightening these front ones. And then go ahead and tighten all the rest. All right, so the front and rear on the passenger side are both installed. And these look much better with the black paint on them. All right, so the next step will be to install the driver side. And then that is it. If you guys have any recommendations on doing this job better, please leave a comment. And also, if you found this video useful, don't forget to like and subscribe. And one last thing I'm asking from my viewers, how would you guys protect this from the sun? Would you also apply a layer of something on it? Let me know if you would still use that Cerakote coating on here, or if you would just let it be. So leave a comment for that. I'm just looking for a little advice on that. So again, thanks for watching and have a good day.